Thrill me. Doc, it's Miller time.
Hello and welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast, the podcast where three men drink beers and gripe about horror movies.
Zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawlies.
Just so everyone's aware, there will be spoilers and plenty of nasty, nasty language.
I got good news and bad news, girls.
The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Yeah, I worked there. That place was, we fucked everything up. Remember how they were like, we used to have a company and they fucked everything up. I'm like, so embarrassed, I'm looking away.
Yeah, but it wasn't just you, there was a bunch of people, right?
But the thing was, I did something called verification. You would look over it a second time, and I would just rip through shit without even looking at it, and I would get like, we were supposed to get like 150 done a day, and I would do like 700 because it was so fucking easy. But the thing was, I was doing it wrong. And they told me that I was doing it right, and they kept being like, you're doing great! So I just kept fucking it up.
And they didn't know?
It had to be, I had to have probably fucked up like 10,000 of these fucking things.
They're like, shut it down! Shut it down!
Oh yeah, I got laid off 4 times from there. The 4th time somebody came in and they were talking to I saw this dude walk up in a suit and start talking to our boss, and our boss going like this, and I just shut my shit down and put my shit down and just sat there and waited.
Waited for him to go over.
You guys don't even have to finish out your days. Just go.
That's what they said, and people were like, oh, I'm staying. I'm like, fuck you. I'm out of here. Hi. Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I'm John.
Cobra?
Ben.
And today we're reviewing Night of the Creeps. Woo! This is probably what, your favorite movie we've done on here, right?
It's gonna be a toss between this and The Thing and Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah.
Although I think I only rated that an 8 and I rated The Thing a 9. It just depends on my mood, I think. And this is 100% an 80s movie, which is great.
Do you know why this movie rules?
It has Russ Griswold in it.
Well, that too. He is in there. It also has porn star Robert Kerman from Debbie Does Dallas. But it also has
Tom Atkins!
There you go.
And his mustache.
That's right, he does have his mustache. This isn't the fucking Fog with his non-mustache.
I think I read that this was his favorite role to do. Tom
he
Atkins
played
role.
it like it was his favorite role.
Oh, he's so good.
Putting you in charge of this.
Oh, God. What'd he say? I wasn't paying attention.
He said you're in charge
Of what?
of this.
All right.
You're in charge.
Do I have to do anything?
No, you just talk.
Okay,
Just
I can talk.
Everything's fine.
All right. Night of the Creeps. Now let's discuss this.
Alien ass.
The first part of the movie is really wonky.
It started out.
It's on a spaceship.
I wasn't expecting midget alien bear ass.
Naked midget aliens running around with weapons. That's what it is on a spaceship.
Yes.
And one of them releases this capsule.
Yeah, I didn't understand there was 2 aliens chasing one.
What? I don't know what was going on there.
They didn't follow that up with why the alien decided to get rid of this capsule full of something.
This is my only problem with the movie. Is this beginning? It's just weird.
Yeah, but it's weird enough to still be funny. I mean, it's just alien
Yeah,
ass.
but I guess. So the one alien releases a capsule that.
Wait, we have to say that this is 1950.
It is Sorority Row, 1959.
59.
And it looks like everyone's headed to the sock hop because they're in their poodle dresses.
We immediately go from the spaceship with aliens, which is color, to
black and white.
Black and white after this capsule is discharged from the spaceship.
Yeah, he hits a release button, I guess. It goes.
And then we get to a bunch of 3 or 4 cars, college kids making out 2 feet away from each other.
Are they at the theater at this point?
That's when they're on like Lookout
Cove,
yeah.
Lookout Point.
I just thought it was weird that they were beside each other.
All right, so
I did like the black and white. I thought it was a nice throwback to 50s
50s TV.
50s genre.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't bad.
Um,
I thought this movie was shot well.
Well, I thought I thought it was weird because it started in color, went to black and white, and then this is the first time I watched this movie. So,
This is the first time you saw this movie?
Yes.
Oh.
And so I thought the whole thing was going to be black and white, and I was like, this is really weird. But couple that's making out.
Pam and Johnny.
I didn't get the names.
Pam and Johnny are now dating, and there is a young cop. He's a cop, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
They're
Ray Cameron. We'll find out later, but
the cop comes up and taps on the window of a convertible. We kind of find out later that that young cop was dating the girl that's in the car, but he's concerned for her and he tells her to just go home because
yeah,
there's an escaped lunatic, which is classic 80s trope.
always. What's
On the
what's his
loose.
weapon of choice? An axe,
axe.
of course.
On the loose.
Nice weapon.
So, trying to tell them to go home. The cop leaves, and they see what they think is a meteor.
Now this, you've seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
This
Love
looked
it.
almost identical to
Yeah.
that flash over the car, and everyone's like, wow.
It really
Only
looks-
a circus tent doesn't pop up in this one.
The guy in the car with the girl decides to. He thinks the meteor landed nearby, so he wants to go find it, and so they take off to go find the meteor. They find it.
And what's there?
He pulls over. He leaves the car, and she, of course, is telling him not to because she's scared. It's dark, and he goes off into the woods looking. As she's trying to get him to come back to the car, we see the crazy escaped lunatic, the axe, coming up behind her.
Does the boyfriend die?
Well, he gets a slug in the mouth, right? Because that's what's in this capsule. He finds the crashed meteor, which is the capsule. There's little squirmy things moving.
We call them slugs, I
Slugs.
think. That's what
And,
is most appropriate.
He has a flashlight and he's looking at it, and then very quickly a slug leaps into his mouth. But yeah, we don't see him again, do we?
No.
Which is odd.
He's not the boyfriend. Is that the guy in the lab? Is he the boyfriend in the lab?
Yes, he is. Yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, he is been possessed by whatever this is, and the crazy guy is hacking
The girl
Pam, the girlfriend, and Detective Cameron.
finds pieces.
I guess he's not a detective yet. Ray Cameron, we'll say.
Yeah.
And
Well,
did you
kinda-
know that they used all different horror names throughout this movie?
What do you mean?
James Cameron directed Aliens.
Okay.
That's Ray Cameron. Cindy Cronenberg, David Cronenberg.
Uh,
JC's name is, I don't know what his first name is, if it's John, Jesse, whatever, but
I
it's
like
Carpenter Hooper, I think. It's his last name.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
Well,
they
this-
throw it at you. It's nice.
The scene cuts with the lunatic approaching the car with the axe, and then it cuts to present day, which is 1986.
Pledge Week, yep, 1986.
Same college, same town.
That's all we see, really, from the very opening get-go.
Yeah.
You don't know a whole lot what's going on, but you kind of
it's
know
a
there's
teaser.
a slug.
It's a
There was a
teaser.
criminally insane person that will come into play a little later in the movie.
Yeah, Pledge Week. It opens up with present day, which is 1986, right?
1986, yep.
And we open up with two kind of dorky guys.
Rusty,
One is Rusty from National Lampoon's Vacation.
European,
European Vacation.
right?
Yeah, because Michael C. Hall was Rusty.
That's
in
right.
Person, so.
And then
Yes, European
nerd
Vacation.
guy was in Christmas.
Yeah, and then what was his name?
JC is his friend with the crutches.
I like JC.
He's funny.
I thought he was a strong character.
Is there any bad characters in this movie?
Rusty came off as kind of weak.
He's mopey
He's very
and depressed,
mopey.
and he could never get Cynthia Cronenberg, but
No.
he was big in the 80s. He
But-
just did European Vacation probably, and he was ready to go again.
Yeah, I think it was the year before. Or the year after. One of the two. I
Was
think it
it?
was the year before.
Oh, so he was in this before?
No, I think this came after European.
Okay,
I
that
think
would
it was
make
the year
sense.
after, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. This came out in 86, so.
But we find out that CJ has... CJ? JC?
JC.
JC.
CJ. JC.
He's got some sort of condition where he has
They're not crutches.
They're not crutches, but they're the
Arm bars? What do you call those? Arm bars?
Yeah, it's the crutch that wraps around the arm.
The wrist.
Yeah, so I'm not
it's
sure if
like,
he has like cerebral palsy, MS,
I don't know what it is.
but he has something.
Maybe he's just paralyzed from the legs down. We don't really know.
But we find out he's a pretty good guy, and he's looking out for his best friend, Rusty.
I think he realizes that he's probably not going to get any pussy because
So he wants to live vicariously.
so he's living vicariously through
his
Rusty.
friend.
That's right.
Rusty spots Cynthia Cronenberg.
Cynthia, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know she says her name's Cindy, but he calls her Cynthia later on, so I assume she's Cynthia.
I think that's how I think that's what
I know that she said her name was Cindy at one point, though, and he's like, Cynthia.
He spots her across the courtyard or something across the yard on campus, and immediately he claims he's in love, and we find out JC is the ultimate wingman because
he goes right up and
he
talks
just goes
to her.
up to her because Rusty's too scared to talk to her. She's got the unibrow guy talking to her.
Oh, that's at the party.
No, this is at the campus.
But it's at the party later. They see her
Yeah.
at the very beginning, and they don't talk to her. And then they go to the party because they see her going in the frat house.
They go to pledge because they think that if they're in a fraternity they'll have a better chance.
The
with
Steve
ladies.
the eyebrow part is hysterical
It's
with
pretty
JC.
funny. The eyebrow is hysterical.
He's got the biggest unibrow I've ever seen. He's like a football guy,
Yeah, they're jock type.
and JC's like, "Hey, what's your name?" He's like, "Steve." He's like, I think you got a phone call back there. So he leaves and he starts talking to Cynthia. He's like, "Do you have a girlfriend? My friend over here."
Boyfriend.
Did I say girlfriend? That would be hot, though.
That would be hot.
Cynthia's hot. So he's like, "You got a boyfriend or anything like that?" And she's like, "I kind of am seeing someone." But he goes back and tells Rusty,
She doesn't have a boyfriend.
yeah, she didn't mention
I don't think
anything
she has
about
a
a guy. So whatever, he's keeping his hopes up.
This is when they decide they need to pledge.
To pledge, yep. And these are not alpha betas from Revenge of the Nerds, but these are betas. They are beta
Master?
epsilon.
Oh, I thought they were master.
Masturbators? Brad was. He's a dick.
That's Bubba from Mama's Family.
I know. I used to love that show.
Yes.
That's terrible to say.
He had some sweet blood. They decide to pledge to, what was the fraternity again?
Beta epsilon.
Beta guys are kind of dicks, and
It's pledge week though, so
yeah, but I think they want to humor these two.
that's it.
So
yeah,
they
they're
kinda tell
never
them-
gonna let these two into their.
They tell them that
Frat.
to get into the fraternity, their initiation is they have to steal a cadaver from the science lab
I guess.
and put it on another fraternity's front lawn.
Or front
I
lawn
think.
doorstep, something to scare them.
So they decide to do this, and they go to the
I don't even know what it is.
medical center.
It's not like a normal place where I would think a dead body. You know,
No, it looked like just the basement of any sort of college
That you would
classroom
get- yeah.
building.
it is a basement. That's all it is. I'm back. They
are-
also talk about when they're first pledging. They say that, "What are you gonna make us do? Have sex with farm animals?" Oh no,
Yeah, they're like that.
that would be too easy.
That would be too easy. So they have them try to steal a cadaver and place it on the lawn of an opposing.
And as they're
Fraternity.
doing this, I have that the music is just great. It's the '80s. We're rocking.
You are about the 80s.
All about the '80s.
Yes, you are.
This movie is so good. Thrill me.
So
Look, one of the frat people looked like Vincent D'Onofrio. Did you notice that? Mustache guy in the back. He's like constantly mugging for the camera.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him, but I didn't even put that together that he was Vincent D'Onofrio.
I don't think it was, but it looked just like him. And this
I
guy
don't
just
think
keeps
it
being like,
This was right after Full
"Hey,
Metal Jacket. He might have
babe."
grew a mustache.
that's the one thing about, you know how I said they were talking like they're in the 80s all the
Oh
time?
yeah.
Hey, babe. So yeah, they're heading down.
Ugh. What was that? Scoff at. Ugh. The '80s are
Ugh.
where it's at.
Shit. Shit.
So
Shit.
we see this
Where is
lab guy.
Who's a
He's-
character actor? I've seen him in about 100
yeah,
other
he's in a
things.
ton of things.
Yeah.
I don't even know his name though.
I had it in here. That's why
Forgot
I'm
his
looking.
password.
He forgot his password to get into his lab. He punches in so many numbers, but he forgets the last number. And he goes to call tech support.
The last
I
number
guess.
The last number is 0.
0.
So-
What a lucky guess I have.
So-
that 0 just happened to be that.
David Painter.
David Painter.
Yep.
Look at you with notes.
All the way in like 700 pages in the back.
So, what is it, Rusty and CJ?
JC. What is Rusty's name? I think I have it Chris. His name is Chris.
And they get to the lab the entrance.
Chris.
They punch in 0 because you know.
Obviously, 10
What's the
will
last
get you
digit
through this
of the
door.
code? And the door opens, so they go in and they find a I can't say that word.
Cryogenic.
Yes, frozen body, upright, standing upright.
First of all, this lab has so many lights and buttons. This, I don't think, would be in a normal university, especially one this small.
It's a typical Hollywood set right there.
Yeah.
Which this whole movie, the thing is, this whole movie is that. And that's why it's okay. You can't, anything that you want to call into question, like technical or anything like that, you can't, because the whole movie's playing that up. So...
This movie does ham up pretty well. I was discussing with him about the horror director's names all through the movie.
We meet Detective Cameron pretty soon, but that's coming up.
We already met him once. Well, he wasn't Detective Cameron. He was Ray Cameron.
These things...
Officer Cameron.
Barely anything... The funny thing is, barely anything in this lab is labeled. But what is labeled is the thing that unfreezes the guy.
The bright red button that's bigger than all the other ones.
So they unfreeze the guy who, I know this is Hollywood, but if you're going to freeze a guy, why would you stick a pair of, like, tighty-whities on him? It's so ridiculous.
He's a corpsicle.
He falls on the floor and the two of them run out, screaming like banshees.
Whoa. The corpse grabs JC's arm.
That's right.
That's when they get out of there.
Yeah.
But that Asian guy is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
We come to the slightly racist part later.
David Pinner walks in.
You sure?
And
he was Korean.
I said Asian. That's Korean.
Asian covers everything.
That's right. They can be Russian. They're still Asian.
Piss off the Chinese and the Japanese if it's one or the other. But
Chinese or Japanese. Laotian.
Whoops. So these creatures move around just like Jason Goes to Hell. They go in and out of each other's mouths. They're little slugs. One of them goes into David Painter's mouth, and the cadaver just kind of walks away after that.
Yeah, he just gets up and leaves. I guess he already had another... Was that a spare slug he gave him?
Yeah,
Does it take one slug
because
to
when they
control
blow up
someone?
the heads, there's a bunch of slugs that pop
Yeah.
out. So one of them came out. So Tom Atkins shows up, and nothing is ever good enough for this character. He's mad about everything all the time.
JC and Chris go back to the room and get into this big...
I didn't write that down because it was dumb.
They get into...
It was really dumb.
Chris is like, oh, I can't believe we did that. And JC goes off. He's like, you know what? You're such a pussy. I sit here and listen to you fucking whine all the time, and I'm trying to get you laid by this hot chick, and you're just a fucking bitch. That's pretty much what it is.
He's a wingman.
The best wingman.
Yeah, I liked his character.
Best wingman ever.
Yeah, I was upset that we get stuck with Chris and not JC.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate. They should have put Rusty
By the way,
in there.
for most of the time I have Chris written down as Tom Atkins Jr.
He does say thrill me at the end.
Yes, he does.
Spanky and Alfalfa.
One of the detectives is named Raimi when he's talking to Cameron. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
just there's
How
so
did I not pick this up?
I don't know how you didn't.
There's a part where
Because he's like Carpenter Hooper.
Yeah, Carpenter Hooper. When he says that, I'm like, oh my god. They're just like, get them all out.
Oh my god, I'm terrible.
So they're putting human brains for a bio project in the basement of this.
Random.
Just so
Sorority.
weird.
Some sorority.
And they're like, oh yeah, just put the brains in the basement. We're gonna who dissects brains for what?
Well, they're human brains.
First of all, when they call Tom Atkins on the scene, he answers the phone.
Thrill me.
Thrill me, and then they're like, Detective Cameron? He's like, no, Bullwinkle Moose.
And he does this like 2 or 3 more times too.
He's so good in this.
He can smoke a cigarette in this movie.
Oh my god, every scene.
It's fantastic.
He's like Dennis Quaid in Jaws 3.
At one point he says, is this a homicide or just a bad B movie? And I was like, you know what? This is a good B movie, I think.
Excellent. Yeah.
They make
just
like
good.
numerous references throughout this movie to bad B movies.
It just hams it up for you, and it's so good.
The only other movie that I can think of that comes close to this kind of over-the-top...
I hope you're going to say what I'm going to say.
Well, let's see. What do you say?
Return of the Living Dead.
It's not as over-the-top. It's close, but it's not. I'm not even thinking of a horror movie. I'm thinking of Batman 66. They play everything for laughs. They say everything deadpan.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, he's got shark spray.
Got shark repellent bat spray.
What's Batman 66?
1966.
Adam
Batman.
West.
Batman movie.
I didn't see that.
Oh,
The old
there's-
show, they made a movie, but they really like
The way they
everything was
figure
a
out the
joke.
villains is so funny. They're like, it happened at C. C? C for Catwoman. It all adds up to a giant riddle. Riddler. Oh, it's great.
That's why I like
It's
this.
so good. This reminds me of that only with like horror elements and Tom Atkins. So, okay, this is one of the rare movies that we've watched where a character whose boobs you want to see,
You get to see.
you see.
And she lives!
Yeah, everything about this, excellent.
And she's hot.
It's a-
Cynthia Cronenberg is one of the hottest main leads we've had, I think.
Yeah, I looked her up. She's not in. Weird
She's,
Science is the only other thing I can find her in that I.
She's
do.
right here, baby.
Yeah.
Right in this mind.
All
We
kinds
got
of
the
poker notes
corpse
here.
walking to the house. Find out that Brad, head
This is
douchebag,
the
is
cry-
dating Cynthia.
Well, this is the say that word.
The cryogenic body is now the corpse
Walking to
is
the house.
walking to the house.
The sorority house.
And his face explodes.
When he
gets there,
throws
yeah.
pebbles at the windows.
Yeah.
He's
Gets-
very romantic.
He gets Cynthia's attention,
I think he does.
and then
Yeah.
his head, when she sees him, his head blows up, and slugs go out into the yard.
It's true.
For the next.
There's
like,
Gordon the cat I have in my notes too.
Yeah, that's a setup for later, which I like. They did a good job with that.
After the head explodes, they call the cops, and Tom Atkins shows up on the scene and smells a rose before he walks
Didn't he
into the house.
improvise that?
He improvised that.
Oh man,
Wow.
Love it.
so
Just
good.
stop. He walks by it, stops, goes back, smells the
Little
rose.
touches like that are what make this movie so good.
Tom Atkins.
It's so hard to rip on this or make fun of this movie because we don't review comedies very often. This is a comedy.
This is a
Basically.
comedy
I
horror.
mean-
Yeah, it has horror elements. It turns
Sci-fi
a little
elements.
zombie-ish later after they invade the bus, but after that, I mean, it's
There's only
it's
one
funny.
scene where I'm actually like riveted dramatically. Other than that, it's just a big laugh
It's
fest.
so good, and especially when Brad, the main douchebag, calls people chuckleheads. Who the fuck says chuckleheads?
1986.
Did you see
Had to
his
be.
license plate?
The Bradster.
Bradster.
To get that license plate, the Benster.
Somebody
Please don't.
picks up JC and Chris and they're interviewing him and they admit that they went in and got the body and that's when they talk to the Asian guy.
I
Either
think
way,
you
it's
missed the-
slightly
Oh.
racist scene.
You missed, I think, before that. Brad tells the boys that they fucked up the prank and put the corpse on the wrong
on the sorority.
house, and it freaks some girls out.
Yeah, so they're pretty pissed about it.
Actually, Rusty has a good line here. He's like, "It's all Greek to me," as if
Oh yeah.
as if they didn't know which sorority house to put it on,
That is
or
a good
frat house.
And there's also a newspaper that they just hold up to the camera that just says headless corpse found. And they just hold it there and then they walk away with it. Steve Miner is the name of the Asian guy. Or, I'm sorry, Miner is the name of the Asian guy. Steve Miner. They even threw in Steve Miner.
That's
something.
That's Delvin.
that. Yeah, what did he do at this
That's diving
point?
deep.
Fridays
2
maybe.
and 3. That's it.
Yeah, 2 and 3.
Yep. Not much else.
But the guy that made this movie, the only
He worked with Halloween series too.
who did it? Fred Decker. He did the Monster Squad, this movie, and like RoboCop 3 are his only three.
Oh.
three
2 out of
movies
3
he-
ain't bad.
Hey, Meatloaf, he got something right. I don't think people know about this movie, and it's really good.
Well,
it's
then
a
I
really
guess
good 80s
It's
watch.
up to us.
We're gonna get this movie out there. Tom Atkins, you deserve this.
David Painter attacks the Asian guy and moves the leeches on some more. So we have another guy who's infected. The dead cat part, is that what happens next?
Oh, the
Cat faced all man. Yeah, the cat's
the
faces.
nerdy sorority science girl who stored the brains in the basement.
Mhm.
She's in one room in the sorority house and she hears something knocking at the door. And that's the cat, right? Does
Gordon.
The cat jump on her.
You know who else was Gordon?
The dog from Friday the 13th 4.
That's exactly right.
Oh, they even referenced that.
That's insane.
I don't know if that's a reference for a
I, don't,
cat
I,
and
hope,
dog, but
I hope that they didn't go that far, but that would be crazy.
Gordon is a very popular pet name, apparently. That's what
I'll
we
tell you
learned
what,
from
we
this.
were complaining in the last episode we did about The Mist, about how poorly they did on the monsters. They put such detail into these. When David Painter gets up, he's still got a pair of scissors
in his neck.
hanging from his neck.
Yeah.
I mean,
The makeup is good in this.
oh my goodness.
That's because it's not CGI.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, it's
True. Cynthia talks to JC and Chris about how that guy was up there on her ledge, and JC knows he's got to get out of the way now. So he goes off to go to the bathroom and lets
He's-
those two talk.
I thought he was just trying to like leave them alone,
He was.
but he really went to take a shit.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, he did go to the bathroom.
He's like, well, I'm in here. I might as well shit. But that's a fatal mistake. I don't like this.
Why, he falls, but why doesn't he have his crutches? They're right there.
But are you talking about?
I'm
him?
confused about what happens in
when
this
he
scene.
falls in the bathroom
a little bit.
He doesn't even grab for his crutches. He
'Cause
tries to burn the thing.
He's leaning over to pick up the matchbook first.
To me,
Yeah, but he gets it and he
That's-
burns one, and then all of a sudden the stall opens and he falls out and his crutches are like right there. I think.
this scene is sort of haphazard, if you ask me.
I'm more concerned that he didn't wipe his ass. when he pulled
There's
his-
that too.
When he pulled his pants up.
But there's
When the
there's
leashes
there's
started.
so much. Like he just lights. Why does he think to light a matchbook?
Yeah,
It doesn't make any
it
sense.
doesn't make any sense.
Holy shit.
But it finds out that fire burns these slugs.
Well, yeah, he gets infected by Painter.
Can you do the screaming like banshees again, though?
Screaming like bunchies.
I feel like we need to really hit on that.
I'm gonna have to put it in because that was not a good impression of what happened. Cynthia invites Chris to some dance,
Formal.
the formal
I
dance.
believe she
yeah,
says.
the formal.
Did they have these in the 80s?
I guess.
It seemed very weird to me.
I don't know. But everybody was like, it was like the biggest dance around because everybody was getting ready for it.
It just seemed like something they would have in the 50s, not the 80s. But I don't know. I
Well,
wasn't in college in the 80s, so.
Tom Atkins pops up out of nowhere, and
He
one of my
calls
favorite
those
scenes in the
two
movie.
Spanky and Alfalfa throughout
Yeah.
the movie too.
He calls him Spanky, right? Chris is Spanky.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes him back to his house and tells him the story of how he killed the axe murderer and buried his body underneath.
Well, he
the
starts
house
out by
mother.
saying about did you have a high school sweetheart or something?
Oh yeah, it's just
pretty
insane.
dramatic.
It's not really dramatic.
depressing,
It's really
kind of.
funny because he's like
Yeah, but
the way he tells it is really funny.
it's just unexpected.
Yeah, and
I'll
it's
tell you about my high school sweetheart.
and Chris says the same thing. I'm thinking he's like, should you be telling me this?
Well, because
That's-
he says that he killed the axe murderer.
Yeah, he's
and
like, I put the
buried
shotgun up
body.
to his chest. Can you guess what happened next? Should you be telling me this? Close. I pulled the trigger.
Tom Atkins, this is so good.
But he buried the.
He buried the body under the house mother's house.
I'm guessing
Not-
that house wasn't there.
It
at
wasn't
that
there.
point,
So it
right?
wasn't there,
Yeah.
and now it's not in a vacant lot. It's now a house.
Shoot to the house mother scene.
House mothers before 1990 were 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing where did
They
that
would
happen
never,
in the 80s?
I can't imagine, but we watched Black Christmas, and the lady there was like 60, a booze hound, and that was from 74. But every house mother from a sorority from before 1990 is like
90.
40 years old or plus. I'm like, that doesn't happen, does it?
I don't know.
Another thing that I know you guys covered at the beginning, a lot of stuff, but I mentioned that like in the 80s they were always throwing back to the 50s, and now we're always throwing back to the 80s. So
Starting to throw back to the 90s.
yeah, we're starting to throw back to the 90s
Yeah.
a little bit. So,
Is it a
but
30-year
by
gap?
throwing
Is
back
that
to
what
the
it is?
80s, would we
Yeah.
also be throwing back to the 50s?
No.
Because the 80s were throwing back to the 50s?
Those were two completely different eras.
I know, but I don't know why
skirts
the
and-
80s wanted to live like the 50s. The late 80s were depressing,
The
from what I
history-
understand.
The history major in me can tell you because the 80s were a very conservative time with
Right.
Reagan, and the 50s were a very conservative time with Eisenhower.
Maybe
so
that's it.
Possibly.
You
That
nailed
would
it.
be the reason.
We got an actual film critic over here.
Me?
Yeah.
Just a history major.
Well, it works for criticizing films better than I can do. I always try to make those comparisons, and when I do, we end up with Cemetery Man podcasts. So,
Stuff that never gets
Yeah.
released.
so when we go to the house mother's house, she's watching Plan 9 from Outer Space. I love
Ed
that
Wood,
movie. Oh
right?
yeah, excellent. And they're having one of those philosophical conversations that don't make any sense. Oh, it's great. And this is when the monster, the guy that Tom Atkins killed, hacks his way up out of the ground.
It's a pretty good scene.
This
You hear it.
this is what I want to know. So the slugs can take over anybody? Because this guy's already dead.
I guess.
Yeah,
Normally
this
they're
light's been
inhabiting-
buried for why did they decide at that
Just-
moment to...
Although, are they...
Why did they bury him with his axe?
That was Tom Atkins.
Yeah.
Not the best
slugs-
decision.
I'm assuming the slugs that we see traveling through the yard numerous occasions got into the ground and infected the corpse.
But normally they go to living people because they go right through the mouth. Do they just
This is
get
true,
up
but
in
I
this
think they
guy
can- I
and
think they can
control
infect
him?
anybody, but because, well, obviously at the end we see they head to the cemetery, so they apparently they can infect
They head to a cemetery?
If they were gonna make a sequel, I think that's what they would probably go off of. The
I see a
dead.
different version than you guys.
What? Wait, what?
The ending where the slugs go into the cemetery.
No, I
did not see
I
that.
saw it, but I just glanced over it because I
Oh.
thought the movie was over.
I watched a director's cut, and the end of the movie has Cynthia Cronenberg bent over talking to the dog, and it shoots a slug at her, and that's how it ends.
I didn't see that.
I didn't
at all.
see that.
That's how
part.
my movie ended, with a director's cut.
I had Tom Atkins.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's like charred,
Uh-huh.
and he walks down the street, and then he falls over, and slugs go out.
Mhm.
And
Ah,
then the
that
slugs-
is not the version I saw. He explodes in the house, and Rusty says, "Thrill me," and the house explodes, and then they're all outside the house while it's on fire.
Well, that happens, but then I think things change after that.
And then
Yeah.
Cynthia
But they
goes
just-
to pet this dog, and the slug shoots right at her, and she's
No, I
like,
don't think I saw that.
and that's how it ends.
I saw the slugs come out of Tom Atkins, and then they scurry into the cemetery. That's right.
You had
next to
Tom
the
Atkins
surgeon.
come out of the house too?
Yeah, it was very
Tom
short.
Atkins got exploded in the house dead in my
Very end,
version.
He comes out. He's all charred,
No.
and he's like,
Yes. No. Yes.
No. Not in my version, he does not come out.
"I believe you, but."
Yeah, it's a director's cut. I mean, that's what the director wanted, and he didn't get it. That's all. It happens.
Interesting.
It's-
Yeah,
it's
no,
happened.
there
Yeah,
were different versions.
honestly, like, Rusty is counting down. Did you get that part? He's
Okay.
counting down from 20.
Yeah, he's trying to be a badass, but he's not pulling it off at all.
And
When,
Rusty
when he's counting
says,
when
"Thrill
nobody's
me."
in there, I don't know what the point is. They bring the lady out, and they're like, we would have had to have several different stretchers, blah 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 blah. I laughed
There were
at that.
parts everywhere.
Yeah. Then the movie takes on, for a very short period of time, a completely different feel. It has like a bit of almost like an ominous feel to it when they corner that guy, the axe-killing zombie, in the
Oh yeah.
and Tom Atkins is like, I
grabs his
killed you
shotgun.
once.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels different. It feels like we're in a different movie. And then it goes back to the campiness.
Yeah. I just can't believe that you
It
guys
com-
such a different. I'm just sorry. I'm just baffled that you had Tom Atkins come out of the house and then slugs came
Well,
out
the
of
house
his body.
exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like the end, right before the credits rolled. Like Tom Atkins comes out and he's
Yeah,
walking
'cause
down
I
the
thought the
street,
movie
and
was
he's all
over and
charred,
Atkins comes
but he
out.
has his like trench coat on still, and I don't know if he has a cigarette in, but he's walking kind of
Trench coat,
sluggishly,
yeah.
zombie walking, and then he falls, right, and then slugs come out of him. And they scurry across the lawn,
Yeah.
but then they make their way into a nearby cemetery, which we hadn't seen up to this point. But
Yeah.
it's-
See, honest to God, Tom Atkins never came out of the house. The house exploded.
Do you want to hear something else? After the slugs make their way into the cemetery, you see a spaceship come over.
Uh-huh.
That
And
is
that's
not.
where it cuts.
That is not
That's when
in
it
my
cuts.
And they're
movie.
looking. They're still looking for
The searchlight
that.
comes out,
Yeah,
and
they're
that's
still
when it
looking
cuts.
for
Yeah.
the.
Wow. Maybe I need to see your version too. Although I think my ending's probably better. I don't like to see Tom Atkins all
Well,
charred.
the ending that you gave and that I saw, we both saw, would lead to a sequel. I think.
Yeah, that's
It could
why I
be
thought. That's
This
why I was
would
thinking
just
it was
be-
a second.
Mine
yours
would
would
lead to a
be-
sequel because
But
the
it pick up right where Cynthia now has the
has
thing.
yeah.
that would be kind
Eh,
of weird,
eh.
but
Yeah.
the dog still has it though, no matter what.
So where did you get your copy? I got mine from
It's
Netflix.
director's cut.
I just
I
got
told you, Robin.
I'm not gonna
They
reveal
did-
where I got mine.
They did a thing where they were going to do covers of the movies,
Yeah.
and the one cover won, and she got that DVD,
Oh.
but it's director's cut,
Okay.
and I didn't
Yeah,
have it. I don't have
whatever.
after the first scene of the aliens, the first 5 minutes, I don't see them again in the rest of my
Well,
movie.
you don't see the aliens. You just see the spaceship.
or the
yeah.
spaceship.
But
So after they kill this guy in the alley, Chris is in his room and there's a recorder or a tape recorder laying on it. How did he miss that?
well, no, he
How
he
did-
asks the next morning. Have you seen JC? He didn't. That's his name, right? JC.
JC.
he
No,
didn't come home last night, and everyone's like, no, I haven't seen him. And then he goes to the room and he takes a shower. He comes out from the shower, and all of a sudden
there's a tape
recorder.
How did JC get it? Was he a walking corpse
I think
that
so.
played it there, and then he went down to the boiler room to die?
That must
Yeah,
be.
because he.
He knows that
he-
air fire can kill them.
Yeah, and then he, I think, I think he knew he was gonna die. So
I knew he was
decided
gonna
to-
die, but if he's possessed, how does he? You know what I mean?
Apparently, it takes a slow time.
A slow time to
slow
get-
time to possess them.
Okay, so we find out that fire kills these things, but doesn't fire kill everything?
Yeah, but
I mean,
I
even
think
in the
so.
mist,
yeah.
bad flamethrower.
Yeah.
I keep right, shouldn't be. But
I don't know who Cunningham is. I just have the word Cunningham. This is, I think, the last mention of somebody.
Cunningham, Friday the 13th.
I know who Sean
Oh,
Cunningham
okay.
is. I just don't know who he is in this movie.
Where are we at right? Okay,
They're about
JC
to get on
left
the
the
bus.
message.
Yeah.
This is where the movie gets really good, I feel, and the horror
The
element
ending's
comes
pretty
out when that dog, the bus crashes.
That's good.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
we have to show the fraternity getting ready to go out on a
Party night, the date
Greyhound
night.
bus.
Yeah. We also see more boobs here. I want to mention that. Not only did we see
the
Cynthia's
sororities
boobs.
also get
These
ready
are
for this
gratuitous as
formal.
hell. I'm
We
sure
gotta-
the director's like, turn around. Turn is on his bullhorn. Turn to the side.
The one fraternity guy, you see them in front of a mirror getting ready. He's chugging a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. I don't know why.
Well, sometimes.
Did he have squirts
Indigestion.
and he was trying to prevent?
So they're on the bus and they're using 80s term or 80s jargon here. They're like, "Come on, bro, bogus. We're gonna go get done."
We're gonna go
Yeah.
get done. What
Yep.
the fuck does that mean? You getting drunk? We're getting done. You getting laid? We're getting done. I don't know what the fuck that means.
I guess that's what.
Maybe it's a
getting
combination
laid
of both.
means. I could be.
When you get drunk and laid, that's done.
That's done. Yeah.
Chris goes
How does-
looking for JC.
That's it.
Brad
First.
goes looking for Cynthia because he thinks they're still dating.
And he's like, "Birch."
But he
Finds the dog.
He gets infected
The dog shoots a slug in his mouth.
because the fraternity, the bus crashed, and the infected dog.
Infected the whole bus.
Yes.
And that's when it turns a little zombie-ish,
Yes,
which I like.
very much so.
Meanwhile, Chris is talking to Tom Atkins. So he finds JC's body
In the boiler room.
in the boiler room, and then he goes and finds Tom Atkins.
I have
who's
a note
trying
here.
to kill himself.
I have a note here
I
that
do.
this boiler room is way more scary than any boiler room that ever had Freddy Krueger in it.
Just wait till we get there. There's gonna be maybe lower ranked as a whole than Halloween, because I can't find one that I like in there.
The
3 is probably my favorite.
Maybe Wes
but-
Craven's New Nightmare.
I
And that's
thought-
it.
when you see Tom Atkins and he has duct tape all around the door, I thought he was trying to prevent slugs from.
coming
I
in.
wasn't
Yeah.
sure what he was doing, but they do that real subtle thing where he turns off
Yeah, it
the
was
oven.
just-
Yeah.
and then it's never spoken of, and it's like, what's he trying to kill
But I
himself?
think
Yeah.
they're trying to.
I
They're
think
trying to
after-
make you know that he is suicidal, so it sets you up for the ending.
Yeah, I think after
Which
he
seems very
realized that
smart for an '80s camp
Yeah.
movie,
skeleton came back that killed his lover,
but, yeah.
he was like, you know what, I'm fucking done with this.
So the guys on the bus before they wreck, I noticed that they all split a beer. Like 3 guys split like
One
one beer. Like, you guys are hardcore.
How much was beer in 1986? $6 a case? Come on, guys.
So the bus wrecks, and that's when the dog infects everybody on there. And that's when we get Dick Miller. No, nobody.
Nobody.
I know Dick Miller. Does he show up in his movie?
He
Oh,
is.
he is the guy with the weapons. He's
Uh-huh.
like you, the fire.
Which is just like
Flamethrower.
Terminator.
Who's Dick Miller?
He is.
He's a character actor. He's in everything.
He is in Gremlins,
Terminator.
Terminator. He's Uncle Willie from Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, if you know that movie.
I can't even remember everything he's in. There's so many. But
Pussy. Sorry.
Did you say pussy?
I said proceed.
Oh.
oh, I'm like, wait, what? Who?
Dick Miller's a pussy? Oh.
Evan, that's a good back and forth too. Tom Atkins and Dick Miller. That's a great back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
You have one of those slips for me to give you this flamethrower, and he's like,
That's when
What?
No. Dick Miller does tell you one thing, that you got to keep the pilot light lit.
that's
yeah,
right.
that's important.
That
It's
is
so,
very-
this script
very
is
important.
so tightly written.
Did you find
Man.
it weird that there was a flamethrower in a police?
Nope.
No?
Not
Armory?
questioning it. Not questioning it at all.
Why not?
Okay.
Yep, why not? Exactly.
And there was only one.
Only one.
Flamethrower.
Well, you only need one. One does the trick.
I think 2 would be better.
How do I only have one note after this? This must be where I really got engrossed in the movie and stopped taking notes.
I think this is where Brad shows up, and someone answers the door as Brad is a zombie corpse,
clearly.
and they're like, Cynthia, Brad's here. And she goes out and has a conversation with this guy.
She's like, I was gonna tell you, and he just sits there. He doesn't do
He's-
anything.
Yeah, he doesn't try to infect her, he's just sitting there.
And then Rusty comes out of nowhere as Brad's about to infect Cynthia
I think.
and yells.
Look out, shoots him in the head. Or no, yeah, does he shoot him and then they burn him? Or is it burn him and then shoot? I don't know.
I think he
Shoot 'em.
Shoots him and then burns the
burns.
slugs, yeah.
Yeah, because that was their strategy. Shoot the head, burn the...
Tom Atkins goes in, starts telling people to leave, and
That
he
was the
goes,
This is the best. This is the best line, and it's on the cover.
Oh, yeah. Great line. Go ahead.
Girls, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is your dates are here. The bad news is they're dead.
Oh, man.
But he delivers it so well.
Yep. No, he's so good in this movie. Now we just have the obligatory shooting zombies and burning them and them crashing through things. And I'm starting to notice how useless Cynthia is. She really doesn't do anything. But I love looking at her, so I'm okay with it.
It's literally the scenes that they show where someone's shooting the head and the flamethrower going. It's the cuts are so quick you just can't even tell where they're aiming, what's going on.
It's just chaos. They work their way into the house and they find out that the brains are downstairs from earlier. Again, great script writing. The brains are downstairs and the slugs are all heading to the basement. And
there's a bushel of them.
There is a lot of them. So Tom Atkins goes down there and they go down. Chris and Cynthia go down. And he's dumping gas on everything, and he starts a countdown backwards.
Well, he's got his mouth duct taped first, because he knows at this point that the slugs
he does not want to get infected
through the mouth. He actually catches one out of midair. That's how bad of a badass Tom Atkins is. He catches the slug out of midair.
So then he starts the countdown, and they walk out, and he blows up the house.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And Rusty says, "Thrill me."
He's got to have his badass moment walking through the house.
He's got to be Tom Atkins Jr. And says, "Thrill me." And that's it. The house blows up, and then we get our two endings.
We got different endings.
Oh, and somebody just yells, "Ow!" I don't know who it is or
Michael
what they're
Jackson?
yelling about or
Hear
what.
that.
Was it after or before the house exploded?
It's after the house exploded. They're just like, "Ow!" Okay, I have a feeling this is going to be pretty good. So, what do you give this one, Ben?
I give it a 7. It's just all 80s. Everything good about the 80s. Tom Atkins is just playing it so seriously.
He just hams it up so good.
I thought it was odd that he drove a 1950s
cop car the whole time. It's like he kept the one from 1959. He's
always got like
a
robe / trench coat on with his shirt on.
I thought it was a little bizarre that he kept all this like 50s style. I thought it was great. I thought the effects were fantastic. I love the zombie cat and the zombie dog. This is my first time seeing this movie. I don't know how I've missed it, but no, I thought it was great.
All right, Cobra.
I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. It is.
Wow.
It is pure 80s the whole way through. The music's great. The special effects and makeup are good in it. You don't see any CGI pterodactyls flying around, which really helped. Tom Atkins, his mustache. The one-liners he delivers in this movie are just so good. Every time he shows up, you're like, God, I want more Tom Atkins. He's just so good. 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Thrill me.
I'll give this one an 8. Tom Atkins is partially why. This is the Tom Atkins I wanted so badly in Halloween 3, and he never got close. This is incredible, Tom Atkins.
It's because it was just too serious. They needed to, besides Cockriff,
well,
you wouldn't believe what we had to do to get
the thing is, he delivers all these corny, goofy, ridiculous lines deadpan. He just does it perfectly, and it fits so well into this movie. The script is so tight. The effects are damn near perfect, and it's so fucking funny. I know that people think that Evil Dead 2 is probably one of the top horror comedies. I think this is better than Evil Dead 2, and that's tough to do.
That's saying a lot.
And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this, you need to see it. It is excellent. It's damn near flawless. I don't know why. I think I've seen better overall movies that do different things for me, but this one is so goddamn enjoyable. So, yeah, it gets an 8 out of 10 for me. Alright, the way the horror categories work is